Okay, this is not my preferred method. I just wanted to show you. This is another option for the home shop guys. This is a Harbor Freight single active strut compressor. Trust me folks, I have a ratchet on here. Do not use an impact on this baby. Why, Dan? Well, the bolts they supply with it, threads, a little dicey. It wasn't very rugged when tested. That was by me. I've used it twice. The bolt failed in the first one to the point I wasn't safe using it, so I replaced it, something a little bigger, and go from there. But anyway, we're just tightening it up here. It isn't fully in position yet. You'll see things start to get weird here in a second. Coming apart with a strut is not as big a deal as going together with a strut. That does get weird, yeah. See, I told you? Things jumped. It'll kill you. And here's my lovely wife. Here, hold on. Yeah, oh, there she goes. Oh, it's almost like a repellent. You start filming and they disappear. I'm sure a lot of you fellow creators know what I'm talking about. They just disappear. Now they're there when the critique starts, but they're gone whenever the filming's gone. Or you need that extra hand or something, they somehow disappear. Okay, I'm pulling this together. A couple of things that can happen. The spring can bind before it's fully released. That's great. Now this one, if it's a low-ring spring, it's not going to go as far as what a normal spring with a little bit taller, so I expect I'm going to have trouble. But I've got another option. I haven't shown it to you yet, but I wanted to show you this one. See, that strut is still tight in there? So there is still, I've taken off some of the spring tension, but there is still plenty going on in there. And a couple of the failures with this are these securing pins, one handheld, these securing pins right here, they're supposed to go around the spring. That one will, that one won't, that one won't, just based on the spring compression. So if it does go on there, there's a very good chance that it's going to bind against the spring and make this a lot harder. So, going from there, yeah, that's my face, just a couple inches away from death here. Okay, look at this right here, spring binding, right there. So, here we go. It's still got tension, just barely got loose of it, okay? I can take it apart now. Okay, that's loose. Okay, it's not fully loose though. If you're putting it together, it would be potential. Okay, wonder what size that is. I don't know. Let's find out. Look at that, it's a 21. Okay. We're going to get my impact and we're going to blast this right off. Bring you back. Alright. Hopefully we should have that ready. Okay. Not much fanfare. Now, I will advise you to be careful here. This is an upper washer. Keep it out of close. A little space here. This nut right here, around for a better angle. That nut right there is actually what's holding it together. The previous nut was just holding it in place. Look at it bearing, it's dry and gone and it's just done its job. Alright, I want to get the tool, I'll bring it right back. Okay, we have the tool involved here. I'm going to get this apart. Basically, you're just taking the nut off. Let's see here. This is on this crescent wrench. I've got that. And that smaller crescent wrench. I'm sorry, I'm going to get in your way here. Oh, just like Mr. Pete. Now, now the neighbors decided for the lawn service to come mow the yard. It's gonna be good. Oh, you see that thing kick? Yeah. Anytime you're working on a strut like that, weird noises, yeah. It's not a good feeling. Years ago I had a coil spring kick loose off of a Crown Victoria, the full-size Fords. Okay. In there. These are 2 pieces. Yeah. Yeah. Not great. These are 2 separate pieces. Sorry about the walk in front. I'll pop these apart. Okay, let me get these apart and I'll bring it back. Okay, the infamous Volvo strut mount, the upper, and then the bearing we talked about earlier. Yeah, if it had 9 lives, it cashed them all in. Okay, 2 separate pieces, kind of pricey. That's not the main problem in the bearing. This is usually what you're going to see, and this one appears to be okay. But this is vulcanized, this center bushing, vulcanized inside the strut, or this mount. That breaks free, and then the mount is free of the center, and they start clunking and just doing everything. It was pretty much common with all of the 850s, and then the S60s, S70s, anything in the P2 and the P80 range seem to be the ones that were aggressive. There's a lot of upgraded versions of these that you can get, but just make a note of that for you if anybody's doing these. If you're going to do struts, get these and just change them. It's expensive, but just get it over with. Pull the band-aid off. Okay, pulling this bad boy out. Okay, this right here is what this is going to fit against. So this is going to ride inside of here, and then this outer ring right here is going to ride on the spring. So now you know those 2 things. Okay. Even though it is a couple more dollars, not really that many. Taking this off of here. Go ahead and get the hardware for these things. As you go, there's several manufacturers of these. That's being ornery. Almost off. Please stand by. Okay, so from there, here is the bump stop, which is tucked inside of the boot. Okay, now the boot itself, not too bad, but at the bottom, they didn't tie it off. All right, this should be tied, secured. Was allow this to, if the bottom is tied down tight, it's going to allow this to accordion and maintain to do what it's supposed to do. If this isn't tied down, look inside of that, all the dust. That should not have occurred, because the dust is going to attack this seal area here, so we don't want that. Now, oh, look at that. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that strut was kaput. Look at that. I'm not putting any force. This thing had given its last little bit for humanity. Should not be possible. If this was a gas charged strut, it should already be up and stayed up. But as of right now, this was a useless piece of junk. It was doing nothing other than holding the spring. There was really no strut action going on at all. Okay. That was the exciting part, and we'll pull the other side off. I will unclamp this thing so it's no longer a lethal weapon, and go from there. But you can see, with the strut out of there, I can't quite make that clamp. Look how tight that is. Yeah. This is not something you want to put your face up against, okay? Well, then why are you doing it, Dan? Well, it's for the channel. So, anyway, I will get this loose, and hopefully I'll see you later. Okay, a little bit of setup configuration because again, first inaugural tours here. You want to keep it parallel with the center line of the forcing screw. You want to adjust these on the ends. There appears to be these little collars which kind of lock it into position. They're serrated around the outside edge, so it doesn't give you a lot of force necessary, but it does kind of pull it, and you want to try to center it within the teeth here. And let's see what kind of a result I can get. It is a lot of force on this screw right now. I can feel it. Well, there's one way to go about it. Probably not the right way. Now, one way to go about it. So it slipped, so I'm sure there's something I'm missing. Nothing to do with the tool. Something I'm missing here. Keep it from doing that. Okay. Let's see what happens here. Looks about right. Like with all things like this, it's just a little bit of practice. Things will be better. Stay. Let's see where we are relative. I believe we have a long way to go, but not that far. Right. And then this guy. We are real close, folks. Real close. All right. Only one thing wrong. I left the main nut out in the garage. I'll be right back. Okay, we've got a lot of lethal force set up here, but I feel that it's far better caged than it is in the other setup I showed you earlier. Okay, there's that. There's that. There's this. Like that. Okay, bottom of the spring is set into the little pocket. Upper spring seat is locked into its setup. We've got the washer in place, which is actually what holds the bottom side of that. Another part that you can look at right now is we are pretty much safe now. That nut is going to carry pretty much everything that we need. I'm going to change technique here. Okay, good. This has not a flat like the factory one. KYB went with that Allen insert, which I'm not a big fan of, but I'm just going to take this down, get it clamped, and I'm going to relieve the spring pressure. And then get an Allen wrench or socket to hold it together, and we'll go from there. Okay, nuts bottomed on the flat spot on the top of the strut, so it is where it's going to be. Okay, torque on these spindle bolts, that we slipped it in there, just like it came out, is a 105 newtons, or 77 foot-pounds, and then a 90. That's why these are one-shot use bolts. Volvo was putting a stretch on them with that extra 90. They love that, but you know what? Stuff typically doesn't fall off of a Volvo, so take them at their word. Say, well, Dan, you're on the wrong side of this. Yeah, I know. Give me a second. Get just a little bit of torque on it. Okay. This is a nice Seekonk torque wrench. That's 75, thereabouts. Okay. I'm going to come back and do the 90 here in a second. It'll probably be just fine with where it's at, but follow the rules. Okay, there's that. Alright, it's going to be quite a bit. Here's 90. Hey Dan, where'd you get the great big cheater bar? Old age. Treachery. These are my weapons. That's tight. Yeah. If you're bumbling around with one of these things and you're like, oh, that's got to be tight enough, you're probably not correct. Okay. Go ahead and put the anti-lock brake connector back in. Slide it in here. I know, the WD-40 would fix that, Dan. I know. Alright, since that one's kind of hanging behind, go ahead and use my clicking wrench. I like the dial Seekonk that I have. Works out really well. But sometimes the angle isn't conducive. Those are done. Alrighty then. So, got those set up. And because there was nigh any wear on these pads, I mean, there's the wear indicator, I'm going to go cheap. I'm going to use them again. I don't think anybody will bother with that. Already lubed that, so set that into position. You have to bang them in. They're wrong. And snap this guy back in. Okay. And when I did the pins, I went ahead and put some red Loctite on the tips of the threads. It happens to be the same color as the grease, so don't anybody panic. Okay. Okay, there's that. Some of you might have noticed this crazy ratchet that I got. Normally I don't buy ratchets or sockets at the Chinese embassy. It's my code word for Harbor Freight, but normally I don't, but I picked that up. I've got a new store here in town. Sorry if my head getting in the way there. And I saw this crazy thing. I said, you know, for a main ratchet, probably not. But for an oddball, getting around that weird angle, I said, you know, why not? And I've been surprised that it hasn't fallen apart yet. It's floppy and it's wobbly and it's kind of wonky to use, but you kind of always wind up with the ratchet that you really, really like is the one you can't find. So, I mean, look at that. I can adjust my height pretty rapidly, go around stuff. Yeah, I think it's suitable for that. Am I gonna put a lot of torque on it? No. But that's not what I needed it for. I've got stuff that I can really hammer on. Okay, the black caps, put those back in. That'll keep the salt water out, and or whatever you got in your area, salt, dust, etc. Okay. One thing to remember for DIY folks who haven't done this that much, the caliper is fully compressed. When you go hit the pump, the brake, you won't have anything for the first stroke or two, so be careful. A lot of people will jump in, punch the throttle, they're so excited, and away they go. Back right into the kid's wagon. Okay, so I think double check. Everything's there, brake caliper's on, the bolts are on, those two bolts have been torqued, these bolts are torqued, that's been torqued. The only bolts that have not been torqued are up on the top. So let's go deal with that. Okay. While all that fun was happening down below, when I brought the strut up and put it in place, this is the 3 nuts. These all have a washer under them, so you're not pushing right against sheet metal, and you've increased the surface area, so it works out pretty well. I did not torque the top one yet. The reason for that, I need to use an Allen socket and in conjunction with the wrench, which I don't have that fancy wrench, but we'll make do. And let's see here. That's really about it. Now, for as far as alignment, there's not much room there. They're going to have to either push your frame or something like that because you don't have a lot of alignment space or adjustments. Whoa, Dan, another great big ratchet. What's going on? Well, as you get older, you can appreciate the theory of leverage. Okay, I've already compressed the other side brake, so before I get too far here, I'm going to go ahead and put the brake cap on, just because it's really humid where I'm at, and I don't really need to be exposing it to the atmosphere that much. Okay, these are like 25 newtons, not much. Okay, it's all in position. And we decided that was a 21 earlier. Let's see if it's still the same. manufacturer variation. I'll bring it. Okay, the strut manufacturer used a 22 instead of the 21 that came with whatever I took out. So I'm using a 22, and I believe that's a 6mm Allen, and I'm backing that out to get the torque. 50 newtons, I believe is what they said. It's not super tight because, well, one, it's under compression pretty much all the time, and two, it really is only making us, basically this is acting like a lock nut. The 1/4 weight down below, that's actually holding most things, and it's torqued against the stop, and then this is coming on top and pushing down on this top washer, which is basically just only being used because whenever you're under load, it's like there, but whenever you went under full reverse jounce, it would actually top off against that. So I believe this side's done. So we're going to get wrapped up on this side, and we'll bring you back and repeat on the other side, and we'll update you as soon as we get close to done. Bring you back. Well, it's done for today. Both struts in, brakes on, just made its maiden voyage. Nothing fell off. Been a long day. Nothing really went wrong. Definitely the second strut. I didn't show that to you. Here was the second guy. Oh, no, sorry. Here's the second guy. Yeah. Oops, look at that. It's even better. Here, take this one. Get ready for the rebound. Woof! What's the point, folks? Alright. It's going to ride better. It's going to handle better. And it's going to just basically be happier. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for all those out there. We did crest 200 subscribers, which was a big thing for me. My wife laughed. And anyway, I appreciate all your time. And we'll put this and poster up and get back to the next broken thing. Well, we've moved into the after innings. We replaced the rear brakes. And we've taken off the rear bumper. Why? Well, this was the rear bumper bracket fossil. Nothing left of it. This is what it's supposed to look like. No problem. Seems to be nicely treated. I don't know what happened to the factory one, but it disintegrated into dust. So, to recap, we've done the front struts, we've done front brakes, we've done the rear brakes. Didn't film the rear brakes because it's wash, beat, rinse, very easy, and got the rear bumper bracket off. And if you'll see, we've got the fluid film going on down into the frame rail itself, and hope that'll do it some good over time. And we'll bring you back as we progress to getting the bumper back on. But it was nasty. The bolts were turned into some form of gum. I'm not sure exactly what metal they were, but it really wasn't a steel of any sort. And then on the other side I had to do it, so I had to heat them up. I know, I tried first. Heat them up, and then I was able to get enough stud on the back side with a pair of vice grips to break them loose that way. That's once I got them hot. First one I cut off flush and ran out of oxygen. Well, that's normal. And then grabbed the map gas and went at it. So I was able to get that part done, and we will go in. I got to order a few bolts from the MasterCard to make this tidy and make it a good repair. And then this will be pretty much up to speed for now. There's a couple other suspension components underneath that need to be replaced in the rear, and then we need to tackle the air conditioning. Everything else is working, and once that's all set and square, then we're going to start on some of the body work. There, here, there's a tattletale little rust spot right there. And over on the other side, there's one right there. And God only knows what that was. Looks like a hard, sharp object dropped, scraped down to the bare metal, actually split it right here. I don't know. All I know is that underneath all of that, it was a pretty decent car. So, anyway, we've added roof racks, since you guys may have looked. That was right after we got the rear wiper fixed. And so far, I've been driving it reliably to work. It's averaging just under 26 miles per gallon. I drive pretty much the speed limit, Michigan, 70. And once you get the air conditioning fixed, the interior is in really nice shape. I think it's all set for another several years. Those of you that may have seen that, I have a new rim in the back. One of the Michigan potholes ate that front wheel. That was just about a block from work. Pow! It limped in graciously, got to the parking lot, and in classic Volvo fashion, it laid down and gave its life. So, got me there safe, and then it laid down and just quit. So, thanks for watching. We'll bring you back. Alright, that's it for now.